So after a long Saturday, with the help of my friendly builder, he showed me a different way of doing the floorboards. We used to use the crowbar and carefully lever up one side against the joist, and then with a hammer tapped underneath on the opposite side to lift up the nail. The device we bought for lifting the floorboards splits them. It wasn't as good, so by just tapping with a hammer while the crowbar slowly lifts it up, it came up a lot easier. Some still got damaged, but those can be replaced as and when we start to put them down. So the next stage next weekend is floorboards up. We're going to start putting the netting in, the P netting, and hanging the insulation in it in between the struts and between the joists. We've got a few joists to repair where we found the damage that we originally had by the fireplace. So this one, we're cutting between the brickwork across, that's going to get replaced. And also this one is going to be replaced, that goes across to there. The concrete either side of the fireplace was loose. We took it up originally just to get to the floorboards along the edge here, just so then we can replace the whole floorboard rather than cutting it off. But as we pulled the tiles off the top of it, the concrete in either side areas just lifted out. It wasn't properly set in the base. So we've cleaned the base out. We found an old gas pipe as well that will disconnect from the wall over there. That runs all the way through, so we'll get rid of that. But we're going to re-cement those in once we've repaired the joists and the floorboards. We'll re-cement that in, so that's all done. The filler, we'll re-plaster the walls, so that'll all be done. And once the floorboards are put down, I'm going to get this. We'll put the pegs back in on the walls to hold the plaster up, but also for the skirting to go against. Once we've got the pegs all back in around the whole room, we'll put the skirting up against it. I don't think the current plaster comes low enough for where the skirting is going to sit. It's going to be probably a 10 or 15 mil gap. So we're going to re-plaster everything so it drops down a little bit further, and then we'll put the skirting in. But we'll do that once the pegs have been placed. We also found water coming up from the very base down in that corner, and there's a small, tiny little line that leaks into a little pool just there, tiny little pool, sort of the size of my hand. But we think because the outside area is higher up the old patio. Now we were planning to rip out all this anyway and redo it, but we're going to lower it quite a height. So then this whole area is lower than the floor here, and then we'll see if that starts to dry up the little line that comes through. When we put all the floorboard back, I'm going to leave one of those loose so I can lift it up and just pull the insulation either side out and have a look to see if that does eventually dry up. I don't want water still leaking through. So one by one, as we put the netting in across the joist, we'll start to put the floorboards back, and anything that needs replacing we can replace. The room's about 18 square meters. It's not big, and I've got 15 square meters of new floorboards, so we don't need to use most of these, but anything that I can save I will do, because we still got the next room to replace all the floor on. So step 2 next weekend, replace the joists, finish neating this off, maybe brick that in as well so the joists are all held and supported. Finish off that either side, remove the old gas pipe because it's not connected to anything. And then we'll start putting the P netting in and start putting the floors down. I'm going to be able to finish that off on the Sunday, and then a couple of weeks later the floorboards should all be back on, and then I've just got to start nailing them through. And that's going to be a lot of nails, but we'll get there.